Welcome to this iAdopt video, created by the GoFair Foundation in collaboration with the iAdopt working group of the RDA. This video helps you understand how you can create a fair variable description using the iAdopt framework step by step. This is for cases where the variables do not already exist in iAdopt compliant terminologies. Providing a fair variable description based on the iAdopt framework requires the following successive actions. Identify the components, identify their roles, annotate with concepts from fair terminologies, provide labels and description for the variable, and enrich an existing variable concept with iAdopt modeling extension or create an identifier reference for the variable. First, be aware that a clear understanding of the phenomena that your variable should describe is essential. Either you have the domain expertise or you have access to domain experts to help with understanding how to decompose the variable into its essential components. In the analysis, try also to answer the following questions. What kind of values does it produce? Are they quantitative or qualitative observations? What units are usually associated with the variable? What methods are typically used to derive the values? Identify what components are needed to describe your observation. Components are reusable atomic parts of the variable description. Ask yourself the question, could this component be a meaningful part of other variable descriptions as well? If the answer is yes, you most likely found a new component. If not, you probably need to split it up even more. The components are specialized variations of the more generic concepts. Try to find what these more general concepts are. See the examples on the slide. Generalizing can help identify terminologies where you can find the appropriate terms. Note that some of the terms may sometimes refer to elements of method, experimental condition, or units of measurement. These should not be included in the variable description according to the iAdopt, but kept separate. Values and units can give important hints for the further analysis. For qualitative variables, check the kind of values. Are they words, symbols? What do they describe? Are they from known controlled vocabularies? For quantitative variables, check the units. What quantity kinds do they represent? Or are the values dimensionless? The unit of measure or the vocabulary used for the values of a variable will help to narrow down the list of possible properties in the next step. For example, if the variable has a derived unit of the form mass of something per mass of something else, then this already gives a hint that a matrix concept will be needed. The property is a generalized characteristic expressed by the value and is sometimes also called quantity kind. If the property is not known, it may be deduced from the unit, e.g. using iAdopt unit to property lookup, or from the vocabulary used to define possible values. In a more precise description, we would specify which concentration we are looking for. Microgram per kilogram would lead to mass ratio or mass concentration. The object of interest is one of the entities involved in the observation. In particular, it is the entity whose property is observed. If the object of interest is embedded in or is a particular part of another entity, that entity is the matrix of the observation. Note that not every observation necessarily contains a matrix. Context objects are all other entities needed to describe the variable and provide essential contextual information to comprehensively describe the observation. Revisit the identified entities, object of interest, matrix, and context objects once again. Check whether it is possible or necessary to further decompose them into more general concepts and identify them as constraints that can find their scope in this particular scenario. Make your variable description machine readable by linking each component to a concept from a community available terminology. You may consult the iAdopt catalog of terminologies to find suitable terminologies. It lists terminologies that contain terms or concepts for the classes defined in the iAdopt framework. Terminologies for entities are not further distinguished, as they may appear in different roles depending on the variable. Another way to find appropriate concepts is to look into terminology catalogs like BioPortal. See here a useful list. Think about how the variable needs to be labeled. Variables can have 2 or more labels, a preferred one, which is mandatory, and optional alternative ones. Labels should be unique, preferably consistent and unambiguous. The preferred label can be one used in your community, but make sure that you and the community fully agree on the meaning. Labels can be constructed with components of the variable and follow a consistent grammar. Any concept in a terminology should have a description. So do variables. A description or definition helps humans understand better the variable. Add links to an online reference if it provides contextual information on how the variable is measured, like the method and protocol applied. If a variable concept with an identifier already exists, you can reuse it and enrich it with iAdopt associations. If you can't reuse an existing variable, get a URI for the variable for its identifier reference using linked data principles, like SCOS, and attach the previously identified components according to the iAdopt ontology. Once published as a semantic concept according to the iAdopt framework, it can be downloaded in RDF as a rich knowledge graph. Thank you for watching this video.